Hysterical markers was a silly name we used for those ubiquitous markers on the highway commemorating some person or event. My home state of Texas is filled with such markers, ranging from the little-known Duck Creek Soil Erosion Project marker north of Lindale to the much larger and much better-known San Jacinto monument outside Houston. Though designed to remind, we often become blind to their importance and drive past them without a thought, perhaps because there are so many. But big events deserve big monuments. George Washington, who led the nation to victory over the British and served 8 years as our first president, got his monument spire in the D.C. Mall. Texas got a similar monument celebrating its independence won at San Jacinto. This followed a long history of such monuments that go back deep into human history. Today we want to look back 3,500 years to Israel's entrance into the Promised Land when 2 stone monuments were built to commemorate that great event. The monuments were to Israel's faith and God's power and are discussed in Joshua chapters 3 and 4. On Wednesday we looked at the great faith Israel needed to receive the gift God was giving them, a faith that required them to walk toward a flooding river and trust that God would get them across. And God did, in glorious fashion, by stopping the water so they could cross on dry ground, Joshua 3, verse 17. Once across, Joshua had them build a monument in the middle of the river with 12 stones exactly at the spot the priest stood with the ark, Joshua 4, verses 9 and 10. It was a monument to remind them of God's majestic power, demonstrated by stopping the river as the priests entered, holding it back while they stood in the middle, and releasing it just when they exited. He also had them collect 12 stones from the middle of the river to set up another monument at their camp on the west side in Gilgal, Joshua 4, verse 20. It was for the specific purpose of reminding their children, Israel crossed this Jordan on dry ground, Joshua 4, verses 21 through 22. Imagine bringing your children to the camp in Gilgal to worship at the tabernacle and explaining the meaning of the monument. Or crossing the river during the dry season and pointing to the monument in the middle and praising God for His majestic promise-keeping power and remembering the faith of your forefathers. Yes, monuments are great teaching opportunities. America is filled with them, and they teach important things about this great country. But those monuments in Israel taught about the greatness of our God and encourage us to have the same kind of obedient faith. Let us have that same kind of faith to face the floodwaters that frighten us today and trust God to get us through to the other side. But most important of all, we need to trust His power to bring us across the Jordan into heaven itself. He has the power. Do you have the faith? While you consider that, please come back tomorrow for a new Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.